If you guys want to say something, continue to ask questions. I'm going to be asking you lots of questions. Use the chat. That's huge. We are recording this for people in the future. And that's the easiest way to score a goal in lacrosse. Keep it moving. Theme this week is fast breaks. Without further ado, I am going to show you right here. These are some of the answers to the question I shot at you guys, which was to explain how you would consistently turn a 2-on-1 into a quality shot. So I removed people's names from these, and I'll read them out to you. And I highlighted kind of what stands out. In green is kind of what I am going to question. And in yellow is where you're kind of getting towards the direction we want to be going. We're going to discuss principles of a fast break. And principles are simple set rules to basically follow that should hold true in most situations, so everybody's on the same page. We can draw out some of those common misconceptions here. Setting a pick in a 2-on-1, okay? Doing a face dodge. Again, setting a pick is suggested. Setting a pick right here. Common misconception, I guess, is that you would have any sort of time, or whether it would be worth it at all to try to set a pick in a 2-on-1 scenario, which essentially is this. This is what we, I sent you guys off with. So, for instance, firstly, nobody mentioned whether these guys were on their proper side or not, which is going to be important today as we learn about fast breaks and transition. And so in a perfect world, we have a 2-on-1 like this, where we have two players on their proper floor side, a righty and a lefty, and we're against one defender. So in this scenario, as we approach here, if this guy was to come set a pick on this guy, tell me what the problem is with this.
The righty would be on his wrong side.
Thank you. Yeah, so it doesn't make sense to set a pick on this guy for this guy to then carry around here and have a shot from his wrong side. So that's something we've been talking about since the beginning of the ACE program. And these types of shots, Noah Fletcher is going to save. If I had one guy on the wrong side, okay, we got two righties now here. In this scenario, a pick might actually be useful. Okay, this guy over here really doesn't do much for us. If he catches the ball, it's a brutal shot. So in this type of scenario, if you ended up like this, there is a little bit of truth to setting this and this guy coming around it. Okay, so, and then once he got there, he would try to make up some ground and get to his proper floor side for the shot. But what's really wrong with all of this? Yeah, okay, it's a shot from the wrong side, but what's another thing that's actually wrong? Being that we're on a fast break, it's a big opportunity, and we're going to set a pick. What else is wrong with it other than being on the wrong side? Even if this is a lefty here, whatever, why do we not want to set a pick? What else is happening here? Where's everybody else?
Running down, back checking.
Back checking. Thank you. So the time it takes to set a pick here, now you've got
people coming in.
This guy who's been following up. Okay, he's right here, and you try to come over top here, and now he meets you here, and it's just a huge mess, and now there's no quality shot that happens. Okay, so that I think sorts out our pick scenario for us. Okay, so no picks in a fast break. Okay, I just gave you guys the first bit of info was that you don't want to be on your wrong side, or we got to know whether guys are on the wrong side, so nobody mentioned that. And again, we don't want to be picking. So here's my next couple contentions. This person here says the first person, so the ball carrier over on the other screen, makes a pass, then goes down to the corner. So let's draw that. This person makes a pass, but the corner's over here for one, right? People make the mistake of running this route. And in fact, we want to be running on a 45-degree angle here after we pass that. Okay? So those are our lanes. I'm going to tell you about lanes real quick here. So in lacrosse, when you run the floor, these are the lanes and how they look. If we were to get a breakout here, if this guy got this ball right here, he would pass to this guy in this lane. This guy'd stay in this lane. If he didn't have the ball, he'd cut in on a 45-degree angle, and he would stop right here if he didn't get it. And then maybe he'll get a pass from this guy. But the moral of the story is we need to know that this is where we stop. We don't stop over here. We don't keep running straight down. We don't run down to the corner in a fast break. We run in our lanes. And in the 2-on-1 I showed you, both guys were in the inside lane. And you can see how those lanes look, okay? A face dodge, I mean, again, that goes back to the first thing we were talking about, is a guy catching up to you. If I was to face dodge, quote unquote, there's a defender here in the middle. And sorry, that pass never happened. He still got the ball. Okay, and I'm going to run up. And I'm gonna face dodge. Now I've got my momentum going away from the net. I've put my hands across my body in a terrible position to try to get this pass back to this guy. And again, giving more time for chasers to hound me from behind. So we don't want east-west movement in a fast break. We want vertical movement. We want to be going like this in fast breaks. We don't need, every time we go like this, we're allowing people to catch up. So after the pass, you got to get to that backside post where I just described. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. This one starts to get around the right thing. Hopefully dragging the defender away. Okay, somebody here says, actually I put his name down because Nicholas had to me the best answer. He said in a very short way what you should do in this situation. He says fake the pass, okay, maybe. Take a shot or draw the defender. That is like bingo right there. That is the ultimate. So you guys remember the prime scoring area, right? Mm-hmm. I showed it last week. Essentially, as soon as we hit this kind of area here, a defender who knows what they're doing is going to start to make a move. Early in a game, we like to blow this up. We like to just say, screw it, I'm going to nail this guy and just give this pass up and whatever. They'll know we're coming hard next time. And we set the tone sometimes like that. But the other move you can do too is called a hitch, which means you can fake going to him and then hopefully he bites and passes. And then you are, as he's passing, heading back over here. And so you can kind of meet him. And now he's kind of in trouble because you're all over him because you anticipated the pass. But to say things in a simple way, you carry until you get pressure from this D guy. And as soon as you get pressure, you dump it off. Sorry, that should be a dotted line. You dump this pass off. And now that guy runs into the net, towards the net. And even if this guy recovers, this is where we said about running your lanes. This guy heads on his 45 and parks it right here and gets this back. But the golden rule on a fast break. Doesn't matter whether it's a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2. We're going to talk about both today, but it's carry until you're pressured. And if this guy doesn't come to you, if this guy might fake to you, like I said, and go to this guy. So you got to be disciplined enough to hold the ball. And if he doesn't come to you, you get into that prime scoring area and you shoot. And that's your guideline. It's like if you hit the prime scoring area here, you know that you got to pull the trigger. And that's just good lacrosse. Keep it simple. Carry until pressured. Can't stress that enough. I'm going to move forward from that and just get into breaking down the fast break. Got a couple pictures here. You can see this one is just us running our lanes. Okay, so it looks like it's a fast break. Okay, Paulie Dawson right here. He's in the outside lane on this side. You can see this guy's running to the bench on a breakout hard to try to give us a potential 3-on-2 maybe with a guy coming off the bench. But a key point here is I'm in the middle and I have the ball. And that is where we want the ball if it's a 3-on-2. But a fast break just refers to either a 2-on-1, a 3-on-2, or even a 4-on-3 is a fast break. And we call that having numbers. So whenever I'm on the floor and I know that we have a numerical advantage coming out of our end, going north-south to their net, that's a fast break. I'm yelling numbers. I'm yelling go, 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 because we want to push it. We want to seize that opportunity. And the reason we're starting with fast breaks tonight and not breakout is because the first thing you should be thinking about is the fast break. And we talked about that in fundamentals last week or on Wednesday, right? And so we want to be doing the fundamentals properly, take care of our home base, but we also want to be looking for fast breaks. And if we have numbers, we're going. Again, look right here. I say be a threat to run uncontested to the net. And if nobody pressures the ball, shoot. What else? Players should anticipate the other team about to pressure the ball as they approach the prime scoring area. So I showed you that in the diagram. I'm not going to switch over to it. But you got to know that the D guy's probably going to start coming. If he comes at you early, actually, this is good. I want to come back to this. This is why you don't pass before the prime scoring area. So if the D guy is on you out here, great. This guy is just having a sandwich with the goalie, right? He's going in. He's getting a pass here. And you can't leave too early or you're giving up way too much space here in the middle as a D guy. So you have to kind of sit back. If you are sitting back, you might even be running back with it. But as soon as you hit the middle, that's when you're going to have to make your play. So here's another scenario for you. As I said, if a guy is on the wrong side, as a D guy, we want to let him go there. He's not a threat. We know Noah is going to save the ball. So guess what? If I'm this D guy and there's two lefties, and by the way, I take inventory of what hand the two players are coming in against me in a fast break. So if I see two of the same hand, whether a lefty or a righty, I'm cheating. I'm going to cheat and say, you know what? Go ahead and walk in, buddy. I will encourage this shot any day because it's a horrible angle. So as you're doing that, I'm fading away to this guy who's the actual only real threat because he's the only guy on his proper side, and that's who he should be looking to get the ball. This is a selfish shot. It doesn't get any more selfish than this. You're on a 2-on-1, and you're pulling the trigger, when you have a guy on his proper side over here, but no, I want to get my shot because I know I'm close to the goalie. I had a real good look. Well, no, you didn't. The way you want to play this, if you have two guys on the same hand going in on a 2-on-1, is in a north-south orientation like this. This is how you play a 2-on-1 with two guys of the same hand. This guy's still on his proper side. He's coming down the middle. He's in the inside lane, let's call it. He might be a little bit more over here. This guy might be a little bit more down. But what you want to do is get in this north-south scenario where you have a 2-on-1 this way, and you want to force this guy to come to you, and then this guy falls in behind and gets the dump pass. That's how you would play it. You don't want to run over here on your wrong side on a 2-on-1 if you have two guys that are of the same hand. So that's very important, okay? This shot is stupid. Don't take it, ever. Not in a 2-on-1, not on offense, not in a 3-on-2. If you're in that scenario, you want to pull this out and give it to one of our offensive guys because it's we'll get a better shot and we'll wear down their defense instead of you miss the net, and the rebound goes over here, and guess what? Now they have a fast break on us or a 4-on-3 or something like that. Again, a 4-on-3 is also a fast break. If I see that, I am licking my chops. I'm running as hard as I can to maintain that advantage so we can make a couple passes. Because when we get to 3-on-2s now, okay, I'm going to draw this up for you. When we get to 3-on-2s, our goal is to break it down into a 2-on-1. That's our goal. Your D's probably going to be in an I formation. Let's just assume we're in a perfect world here with, we'll call it two lefties and a righty. So here's a question for you. Which pass should I make here if I can? And why? Should I go to the righty or the lefty?
Righty.
What if these guys were over here coming in on the 3-on-2? Would that change your opinion? Because it doesn't always go like exactly like that. Does anybody think that the lefty should pass to the lefty? I like it. I like the silence there. So here's the thing. This pass here, I'm gonna make this guy move a little bit just so he's got an open passing lane. But this pass is an easier pass, and it's because you don't have to pass it across your body. If I had to make this pass right here, okay, you guys should be able to know, visualize it in your head that my arms are crossed up across my body. It's a lot tougher pass. Even if we're breaking out of our zone, we did some breakout stuff. We want to pass to the far side if it's there, if we can, well, away from the bench. But fact of the matter is, okay, we in a perfect world, we do that. But here's what I do as a D guy, just so you know. If I have enough time to analyze what's going on, I'm going to be like, I'm going to start over here in my I formation to discourage that initial simple pass. And then as soon as Buddy makes this pass here, I'm going to try to jump it and hopefully get a stick on him before he makes this pass back over here. Which, again, you can see we just basically have a 2-on-1 right here.
Yeah.
But lesson learned, make the simple pass. The classic way to break down a 3-on-2 is this. Pass far side. This guy hits the back crease. and this. That is the classic way that everybody likes to do their drills to break down 3-on-2s. When you get better, though, what will happen is this top guy will read this, and he'll run back here, and this guy will run over here, and they might be able to turn this into, it's a 2-on-2 in here, right? So in that scenario, the smartest thing for this guy to do, don't force this pass in just because we're like robots. Every time we do a 3-on-2, we go pass here and then pass across, pass here, then pass across. No. Pass here, and if this guy's covered, ideally, this guy's still open as a trailer, and somebody said something about after he makes that pass, he should be heading over here. So if he gets it back, he's in a great position for a shot on net. So those are two ways to break down a 3-on-2. Picture a 2-on-1 right here, since we're on this screen. When I'm this guy, I have my body language, I have my eyes, I'm running as hard as I can to make this defender think I'm going to shoot every time. But in my head, I know as soon as he takes even one step at me, I'm making that pass. But I am selling my shot like you wouldn't believe. Goalies, when they get good, they start to stare at your eyes. And if you're telegraphing your pass and looking at this guy over here for a second or two before you pass it, everybody, including the goalie, knows that this guy's eventually going to catch it, probably, if not drop it, because the D guy's going to anticipate it. But if he does catch it, the goalie knows he's going to square up very easy and save it. Versus if the goalie truly thinks you're about to shoot here, all of his anticipation and reaction is geared towards your body language. And then at the last second, you're dumping it, and he's going to have to readjust. And that's where you get quick stick, empty net goals on the backside if you can really sell that. So that too is part of good 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. And this word anticipate becomes so important because the D guy is anticipating you. The O guy is anticipating the D guy. Let me tell you what else comes into play here, folks. I said I identify whether they're left and rights. You want to know what else I identify? I identify who these shooters are because I know my competition so well that I know who their top players are. And if you look at the photo where we're in our lanes and this guy's running to the bench, who's coming off that bench right now? Who do you think's usually coming off this bench? Your best offensive guy.
Like one of their top offenses?
Yeah, John Grant Jr.'s coming off there. Casey Powell's coming off there. Dane Dobie's coming off there. There's guys who make a living. John Tavares used to be the guy coming off there. And so that changes things too, because usually this D guy and probably this D guy here are the guys we want shooting. So now my whole philosophy of starting this guy over here kind of changes a little because I can't go too far because I got to make sure I get a stick on this guy because I'd rather this guy end up with the shot rather than this guy. So think about that for a second as to knowing who you're playing against. And you anticipate and you make moves based on that. And guess what? Those O guys know you're doing it too. They know they don't want to pass to that guy. So it's a big chess match that's happening here. And if you can really make it seem like you're going to these guys and then go to and encourage this pass to their worst guy, you've done a good job on D. If you force them to make 2 or 3 passes, you've done a good job on D. So again, if nobody comes to you, take the shot. We need a quality shot 90% of the time here. There's just no excuse. So here's one other concept that is important for 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s. It's hard to say, but we just say we don't need a 4-on-2. We don't need a 5-on-2. This is what tends to happen. So, okay, looks beautiful. We got so many numbers here. We're laughing. These guys had some sort of, terrible change over here, and they're just, late getting into the play. And we're all going like this. And I'm going to say this guy needs to have the ball, just so you know that it wasn't necessary for this guy to join a 3-on-2 and make it a 4-on-2. And I'll tell you why that's good lacrosse, okay? We already know how to break a 3-on-2 down to a 2-on-1 and down to a breakaway. If we get good at that, we'll never need this guy. If this shot gets taken and misses the net, which will happen a lot in transition shots because guys go for that perfect shot, and now they have 4 deep, all in here, and these guys they were about to get back in the play, but they're like, whatever, man, I'm about to go on a breakaway here. Now they're going this way, and some other guy who was also like following up the play late just scooped the ball here, and now it's a 3-on-1, a 2-on-1 for sure, going the opposite way. So this guy's gone. They have 4 guys there, so they have 1 guy back, and it's a terrible scenario. You could turn a 3-on-2 into or a 2-on-1 into a 3-on-1. That's an exception for me. You don't need to make a 4-on-2 a 3-on-2 though, because these are the scenarios that happen. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen games lost in overtime this way. I've seen Game 7 of the finals lost this way. I've seen triple overtime lost this way. I've seen, I've just seen it so many times. Every time that you do this and send an extra guy in who's unnecessary, I'm going to say 25% of the time it ends in a fast break the other way against you after the shot. And even worse is if it's a goalie who can throw. Because if you hit him with the shot, we don't even need a rebound. He just scoops it and bombs it to this guy, and we got nothing. So there's so much going on, guys. I'm just like, it's a thinking man's game, lacrosse. And it's putting your playing percentages, putting yourself in the best position possible to cover as much space. And then here's the last piece I'm going to leave you with on a fast break. It's recognizing when it's not there. So if you feel this guy breathing down your back, this guy has a lane here on this pass. His stick's kind of in the lane. Okay. You're not feeling good about this situation. You're feeling a trail check coming on right here. You got a stick to pass through here. Okay. What are your options here? I asked you at the end of the last virtual session, why do we teach the fundamentals? Why do all coaches in all sports stress the fundamentals? And you guys told me that all skills build upon each other. And that was a great insight, and it's true. And systems build on each other too. And we'll see how the breakout system complements the fast break system, which we've been learning about today. But this scenario comes down to basically the fundamentals of ball protection at this point, right? So picture you just scooped a loose ball right here. You're not even worried about a 3-on-2. We need to protect the ball here. We need to value this possession. So would you, when you get a loose ball, I always say scoop, tuck, and turn, or scoop to triple threat if we have a fast break. So scoop, tuck, and turn, where are you going here? What's the best way to go?
Out towards the boards.
Which boards? Right or left?
bench side.
Okay, well that's incorrect. Does anybody know why? That's a bad decision. I'm right here.
Because they're changing. They could be changing.
Yes, and what do we say with the breakouts for those of you that were there with our breakout practices? How do we practice breaking out of the zone?
2 people rushing to the bench.
Yeah, so 2 guys would be rushing to the bench. So yeah, you're going to have 2 guys coming off here that could potentially strip you as well.
Yeah.
So this is dangerous over here.
So
when we break out and when we get to doing our breakouts, our breakout looks like this. It's a pass here. You guys have practiced this. This guy carries to the middle. He passes to this guy. And then we run it deep to the far side, okay? So that's where we would be going if we didn't have a fast break opportunity. But in this case, we had a fast break opportunity, but the guy caught up to us because maybe I'm not the fastest guy on the team, and maybe this guy's the fastest guy on their team. I thought I had this, but now he's right on me. So guess what? The smart play is to run it deep to the far side, which is the objective of our breakout. Gonna leave it at that for 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s. Does anybody have any questions with anything to do with any of that?
No, I'm good.
Guys, for the future reference, feel free to not go by consensus, okay? Don't just say, this goes for life too. Just because the herd of sheep say yes, and good on you guys for speaking out, because you guys at least had an opinion. The people who didn't have an opinion were waiting. That's less risky. But if you truly believe something, just say it, and it's okay to go against the grain. Sometimes I'm going to make it seem like I want you to agree with me, and I do. And sometimes I'm going to make it seem like I want you to agree with me, but I don't. So I want you to think independently at all times and be prepared for that in the future, okay? So that's fast breaks. We talked about running the floor and running lanes a little bit already, so I won't get into that. You guys know about the banana curl. We did breakaways on the floor, so I'm not too concerned about that. I want to quickly touch actually on our principles, okay, first. So right away from a face-off, there's a couple things that we need to be thinking of. Okay, this is a little bit over the top. This is like pro level stuff here. Okay, so I'm going to whip through it real quick because I also have other things to cover. But the transition game really starts on a face-off. And if you have a really good face-off guy, okay, you're going to get fast break opportunities. So if you like to take face-offs, you better be good at 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s. So you look off. You can look off ball. It says here for transition opportunities as soon as you scoop it. That's a good place to look because you might have a guy coming. You might have a 2-on-1 if you do that. The face-off guy, we don't want to necessarily run backwards off of a face-off. I don't want to get into too much detail, but we have to have a safety on the back line. Okay, we need to have. We have a good face-off taker. Okay, there's our face-off taker. No matter what, we need at least one. We usually play, if our face-off guy is not good, we go 3 back and 1 up. Okay, these 2 outside guys attack the ball. This guy is on the top here. He's probably our most dangerous offensive guy is up there. And this guy right here in the middle is what's known as a safety. Okay, so his only responsibility is not to let anyone get behind him. So in a worst case scenario, all we would give up is a 2-on-1. Okay, hopefully not, because hopefully these guys are responsible as well. But if we have a fast break, we can go. If we have a really good face-off guy, we can set up like this. Okay, if we have a good offensive guy, we set up like this, 2 and 2. if we have a premier offensive guy, we set up with these guys deep here. Why do we do that?
They give the face-off guy room the space, like space to run.
Yeah, so it forces their D guys to have to go play these guys, which if your draw guy is good enough and he's a serious threat, like Trevor Baptiste or Jake Withers on the Thunderbirds, these guys can just pop it right to themselves off the face-off, and it gives them more room to pick up the ball. So that's why we start them deep, and these would be offensive guys. Versus in the previous scenario, probably these guys, if we're playing them right here, are D guys. This is our loose ball team. These are our top 5 loose ball guys. And yeah, these are guys with a little bit more offensive savvy. And yes, they would have their sticks on their proper sides just in case they did get a fast break. And I actually do even like these guys with their sticks to the outside here on the back, which allows them to scoop and box out loose balls off of the face-off easier. But if they get it, they can then pass to these guys and we can go 2-on-1s. And that's why I'm talking about face-offs, a face-off guy, or face-off setup, because that has to do a lot of times with getting 2-on-1s and getting opportunities and getting 3-on-2s. So I'm now going to talk about defense, because usually you err on the side of defense. And if you don't have a guy who can win the face-off 75% of the time, you set up in a defensive orientation. So generally speaking, okay, you want to position yourself in front of your guy. Okay, you want to be physical on the line, box guys out off of the line. But if they go get us back to defense, okay, we're talking today about fast breaks, and this is this. This is how do we transition to offense from defense. So we lose the face-off, we play D. Maybe we turn the ball over on them up high and we have a fast break scenario. So the high guys are busting their ass. Okay, if not, we need to fill the outlets. We need to know where the outlets are, okay? And we generally don't want to leave the zone unless we have possession of the ball. Okay, you can cheat for a fast break sometimes. Let's say that there's less than 5 seconds in the shot clock. You know the guy's going to shoot, and you want to take off because we're down 2 or 3 goals late in the game. But otherwise, you need to be responsible. You can't break out unless we have the ball. And literally, you probably shouldn't be fast breaking or breaking out of the zone unless we have the ball. The last piece of that puzzle is making sure that if you aren't involved in the fast break, you run hard to the bench. And that's called a bench assist. Doesn't mean you get an assist on the goal, but you assisted the goal because you got somebody onto the floor, and that allowed us, you guys remember way back when we were doing our fast breaks. Okay, I can't go back that far now, but it allowed John Grant Jr. or whoever to get on the floor because Johnny busted his ass off hard, 2 guys, because they recognize that we are pushing the ball here, okay? So they do that. Now this guy can potentially make this pass. So running hard to the bench creates a lot of odd man scenarios. An odd man scenario is just another name for a fast break. A big one is when there's less than 5 seconds on the clock. Too many times guys are standing around, okay, after they shoot. I'm going to get 5 guys in here real quick, but okay, everybody's standing around. There's less than 5 seconds on the clock, and we got guys that are still, all their body language is this way, and there's under 5 seconds left. As a coach, I yell red. When there's under 5 seconds left, I'm yelling red. I expect my D guys all to yell red, and that lets them know there's under 5 seconds, which means don't pick up the ball unless it's wide open, for one. And if you do, we want to push it. You will see these diagrams again when we talk offense, when we talk defense, because these are principles. I said there's 6 or 7. Well, these are the main ones here. And then these all branch off of the main ones. So if you can remember these, you'll be good. If you can remember, that you have a responsibility to take care of defenders that are running off. And by the way, a 90-degree change looks like this. If you're on offense, it means you do this. Okay, they got the ball. You don't just run like this to your bench. Or if you have the long change, you don't run like this to your bench. 90-degree changes mean you run back with this fast break, and then when you realize you have even numbers, you change 90 degrees here. This is a lazy change, an undisciplined change. It's a change that tells me as a coach that you don't care about giving up a fast break. And fast breaks kill you. Fast breaks, 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s are the difference between winning and losing, just as much as loose ball numbers are, just as much as special team numbers are, power play. Okay, and usually how well you do 5-on-5 is the last statistic. Okay, I'm going to just go through a couple fast break drills I would do as a coach that you would see if we were on the floor right now. Okay, this is the last part of what we'll do for today. So here's a 3 at the bottom is a 3-on-2 with the defenders already in the drill at center in the I formation. That's nice. It doesn't always happen that way. So here's a 2-on-1 up here where we start the defender on the bench and somebody's just changed and he's running in having to defend against a 2-on-1. That's more of a game scenario, so that we like to practice that way. So you can, if you want this to be easier, you can start it from further away for guys. If you want it to be harder, you can start it a little bit closer in. Notice as well that people are on their proper floor side. Okay, when I'm teaching you fast breaks, I'm going to teach you in the ideal perfect scenario, which is guys on their left side and right side here on this 2-on-1. Okay, with the ball, starting with the ball. If I want to make it harder, I don't start you with the ball anymore. I would roll a loose ball in, and then you do the 2-on-1. I'm going to actually change this diagram. I want the loose ball to be up a little higher here, but imagine a guy gets a loose ball here and then runs in on his 2-on-1. It's a little bit different than going straight on to the net like this. Now you're coming in on an angle like this. So that's off of a broken play. Sometimes coaches will just send a pass, and that's how it'll start. But then there's going to be scenarios that look like this, and I call it mashups. It's like mashed potatoes. Here we got 2 guys who are both lefties. So they know that they need to get into the north-south 2-on-1 scenario. So look at this. This guy passes to this guy who runs into the middle. And now we have this north-south 2-on-1 I drew later. So we can dump this down and get a quality shot. Here we have the ball. What's wrong with this? What would you do in a game here? The answer's in the diagram. You get the ball to the middle. Okay? Yeah, we have guys on their proper floor side. But if this guy runs in on his wrong side, and this is a good one to leave you with. If it's a 3-on-2 and the guy in the middle doesn't have the ball, you want to know what I do as a D guy? I fall away from him. I let him walk in here, and we play these 2 guys on the back side. We just hang out over here, and at the last second, maybe I'll go to this guy. But if this guy wants to come in, we just let him come in on yeah, okay, great, you're over here, but you don't have any of your teammates as options. The goalie knows where the shot's coming from. And as soon as you step into the prime scoring area to be a threat, that's when I'm going to come to you. But I'm hanging out on the back side because you're not getting the ball to the middle. And that way you can't break down the 3-on-1 the 3-on-2 like we described earlier. So these are all things to consider that you need to know in 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s. And next week, we're going to do breakouts. And that's when there's not a fast break, and you know it. It's otherwise known as a slow break. It's not a fast break, it's a slow break. The numbers are even, and we want to break out, and we want to do it effectively, and we want to maintain possession 95% of the time. You can't be turning the ball over with a breakout. Now I want to know, how would you disrupt a breakout? From what little you know about the breakout, we learned today you want to run away from the bench. Okay, you know some basics about the breakout. You know about running lanes in a breakout, but use your imagination and tell me how you would use 5 guys, just like I did today. How would you use 5 guys on here to throw up an effective press on a breakout? So tell me their roles. Tell me what everybody should be doing, okay? And yeah, that's it for today. The nice thing is you don't have to learn this stuff on the floor. In a perfect world, I feel like everybody should learn it this way before they get on the floor. Okay, you guys can start thinking about this question for Wednesday. And yeah, you can use the drill creator, save it here. Okay, it saves in your custom drills right here. Okay, I showed some of you at the end of the last session. Draw it up for me this time. Okay, nobody drew me any drills that we did. That was one of the other options I gave you. Everybody gave me the paragraph on what they would do. I think it was
I drew up for you.
Oh, you drew it? You want to pull that up real quick, okay? Just so I can see what you drew. Okay. So common thread with the pick there, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, just basic critique is, what hand are people? I'm assuming that you were going on the assumption that everybody's on their proper side. So now you know that the pick is not what we want to be looking for, right? So that's good. I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just like, at least half the group thought that, probably more. And now we know that we never want to do that. If it comes to that, it's kind of, somebody even said they would do a bull dodge and then step back and shoot. And that's actually, in a one-on-one scenario in transition, that actually could work. That would be worth trying. But in a 2-on-1, we can guarantee ourselves a perfect shot from the proper floor side if we just abide to that carry until pressure philosophy.
Right.
But thanks for doing that. It makes it a lot more, you can see exactly what the guy means. And, I think everybody benefits when you do that. So, because I do this all the time, and I need to do it in the way that shows it the most effectively. Right here is a little bit of confusion. Like, I see you as a coach one day, you know what I mean? So when you're coaching, if you're going to show the hitch, that's what you described here as the hitch, right?
Right.
So he hitches and then goes over here. Yeah. And then you're saying that's when he kicked it back down here. Yeah. And I like how you took it across the net here to the far post. That's good lacrosse as well. The little things make all the difference, all the details. Like, if you were to see every 2-on-1 that happened this year in the NLL, you're going to see 95% of them went down the way that I was describing today. Carry until pressured. So, good one to know. Next week, it's going to be, when in doubt, run it out. So, all these little sayings that hopefully you'll remember and, make you a better player. So, thanks for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you beauties soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. Get some rest.
You did.
Okay. Yeah. No more video games. No more screen time.